Welcome to These Nuts Garage, and here we are at part 2 of turning this 2001 Ford Ranger into a 2001 camping trailer. So, when you go to have I'm going to run through this because I forgot in the last video. Anytime in the state of Tennessee, we're not required to have a tag for a trailer. If you go buy a new utility trailer, you don't have to get tags on it. But in this case, we're going to have to get tags for this trailer. And that requires some inspections. Now, in the previous video, I said that I'm going to have to keep this cab back here for something. And that's because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go actually have this truck titled to me. So that way, if I am ever stopped in a different state, they find a hidden VIN on the frame somewhere, and they call it in and it doesn't come back in my name. They don't think that the truck was stolen or the trailer was stolen or something like that. Just going to do that, and then once I get the title in my name, then I have the trailer finished and inspected by Highway Patrol in the state of Tennessee. They will actually give me a new VIN number for the trailer. So then I go to the courthouse, they give me a new tag for the new VIN number for my trailer to be able to carry it out of state. Since I'm going out of state, I think I'm required to at least have license plates on it, because if you get stopped out there, I don't want any hassle. So, with that being said, that covers something I forgot in the previous video. What we're going to be doing today is kind of going over what is under the bed. You can see in the background over here, I did take this bed off of this truck with a engine hoist. Really light bed, and I just stuck it over in a corner. Nothing to see there, 6 bolts. Undo a plug back here, undo 3 bolts up there by the neck for the filler tank. Thing pops right off, no big deal. So what I'm gonna do is I'll turn the camera over here. I'm gonna run through some things and show what we're gonna be removing, and maybe some things we might be keeping. All right, so basically the frame, as you can see, it's pretty dirty. We need to get rid of some things. Now in a previous video, I said something about removing this rear tire carrier, maybe putting it in a water tank or something like that. But now that I look at it, it is structural. It does tie into the frame back here. And 2, this actually works. So would be able to lower and rise up maybe one of the spare tires I'm going to throw on here while I'm working on the truck. So that's good that this works. I'm probably going to keep it, just clean it up, and store a spare tire underneath here for the trailer, just in case. Now, I will be cleaning up all of this frame, probably pressure washing it, getting it as much descaled as I can, because I'm probably going to paint it black with some sort of chassis paint, just to kind of make it nice. But this right here is an evap system that goes to the canister, to the gas tank. We're going to be getting rid of that. Going to be getting rid of all of these wires back here that go to the rear differential. We're going to be replacing our shocks. Probably get rid of these brake lines that run to the wheel cylinders over there. Maybe, maybe not. I mean, they're not hurting just sitting there. One thing that we're going to be trying to figure out is our emergency brake. This is one of the cables. I think it's for the emergency brake right here. And then there's another one out here. And what I would actually like to do is be able to connect those together and actually be able to have a handbrake on the front of the trailer, so that way I can actually set the parking brakes on this rear axle if we're camping somewhere, so I don't have to chalk it. I can just pull an emergency brake. Previous video, I said something about this fuel tank. Maybe getting a new one and putting it in here so I could store fresh water in it. But as you can see, the fuel tank goes underneath the cab, so that's not going to work. But what I could do is come somewhere in here and then add one in the center, like in this general area, because all the way back in here, at least into this area, I'll be able to put in a fuel tank, or not a fuel tank, a water tank for water storage. So what I want to do real quick is get some tools, and then we'll get to go ahead and removing a lot of this excess stuff that we don't need. All right, so I've got mostly everything removed from the frame that I'm going to remove from it right now. I did get that fuel tank out of the way. It's sitting over there. I'm not going to use a fuel tank like that back into this frame now that I've thought about it. I'm going to keep that maybe in case I need it for something else later on. But the reason why is it kind of sticks underneath the cab of the truck. And in order for that type of tank to work, it would actually sit below the toolbox of the truck. And I think where the cross member goes right up underneath there and that tank strap goes, I think it goes around that will be gone. So that's going to be one less place to hook it to. So I think what I'm just going to do is put a water tank through here. Now, when it comes to the frame, there's some things that I really need to look at. And you can see it's just got a lot of, I'll say, surface rust on it. But it does have some pretty, the clear, not the clear coat, but the coating for some of these parts are kind of from the factory or wearing out. I want to really look at these shackles. If they're okay, I may take them off, clean them up, put them back on. This side over here looks a little more sketchy. So I'm really kind of curious about that. Is that all just the, I'll call it powder coating or some sort of coating on that shackle? Or is that kind of the metal flaking too? Just going to check all that out. I might replace these bushings in the shackle and the front of the axle. I might. Not going to guarantee it. But I do need to inspect all that. I'm going to get this frame cleaned up. Clean it really good, at least as best I can, with a pressure washer and a bunch of heavy-duty degreasers and things along that nature. I may get some phospho, I think that's what it's called, spray on it. Let that sit, get it cleaned up, and then spray paint it with some chassis black paint. Now, I did talk about this earlier, this spare tire holder. And it is part of structural in the vehicle, even though I could cut that out and put in an I-beam or some sort of beam across through there. I actually think I want to keep this. And look at it, it's getting kind of dingy right there. A little soft in the middle. But they do make a tire-shaped water tank / fuel tank. I think you can use it either or. So if I did need to carry some extra gas, I could carry it underneath here, or I could carry water underneath here. And this still actually works. It'll lower the tire up and down if I needed to. So I think I'm just going to leave that and get one of those. I think they're from a company called Trailed. I'll try to tag them in this video. Maybe they'll see it. Maybe they'll want to send me one for, to try out, and then I'll buy a set or something. But anyway, I think I'm going to go that route. So if I'm going on a camping trip and I don't need the extra gas, I can carry extra water. Or if I'm going to be taking maybe like a generator or something, I can have one that's gas, one that's water. I think you can stack those either 2 or 3 high. I'm not real for sure, but maybe I'll put the link down in the comments down below just so y'all can go see what the heck I'm talking about. All right, and I'm about to wrap this video up. I'm trying to make these short. It's mostly me just talking right now, telling you what I'm going to do. But this right here is the emergency brake on this truck. Basically, there's the pedal up there. What I'm thinking about doing is removing this pedal and disconnecting this cable that runs through here and saving this, because I think it would actually be a pretty neat thing to have as an emergency brake on my trailer. So once I get to where I'm going and I want to set the brake on the trailer, I'll have some sort of hand valve or a hand lever or something on the front of the trailer that I can actually just pull and set these emergency brakes on this axle. And basically those are spring controlled, and here you can see here's the cables that run to it. That way I can just set it and I don't have to worry about it rolling off. Like if I put it into a shed or in my driveway, I can just set that brake and it won't go anywhere. So the next thing we're going to be doing is I'm fixing to start trying to figure out how to remove this cab. I do know there's a safety cable right there that goes around that. You can see how it goes up and bolts into the cab. So I need to do that. I think there's maybe a bolt back here, bolt there, and then a bolt up there that I need to remove on both sides. And then I'm going to try to make sure everything is disconnected from the frame, maybe. And then that way I can just kind of rip off this cab off this frame and get it out of the way. All right, back again. There's that old 78. We will be working on that, I promise. I think I'm gonna start working on, there's the frame over there. I think I'm gonna start working on my front suspension, getting all that stuff cleaned up again, and just go ahead and start painting that front suspension for that 78. So that way then I can move towards that right there on that wheelbarrow. That big Dana, I think that's a 60. Dana 60, kind of have that redone. So maybe if all goes well, maybe by the fall, I'll have all the suspension on that truck. Maybe. And like I said, I've got all these cab bolts out of the truck. There were 6. Had one here, there, over here in the dark, and then there was one right here in the dark, right there. And then of course we got 2 up front on the radiator support. And how you get to those is basically you just stick a long extension and a socket down there, and you can buzz them off. It does leave the bolts in there, but it doesn't matter. That'll kind of keep it pinned down while I'm moving it around, because I'm going to actually move this truck somewhere else to take the cab off. I'm just going to rip it off, probably hook it up to Rodney out there and just rip it right off the top of this frame, and then we'll pull the frame back in the garage after I get it cleaned up. It's a horrendous mess in here. I did cut the emergency brake cable right here. Just kind of shoved it down in there. That way it leaves me a little bit of this cable left over that I can kind of rig something up for the emergency brake. Alrighty, so that's going to be the end of this video, but I have a few things to cover before we go, and stick around because here at the end of this video, I'm going to give you some very exciting news, at least for me. So what we've done so far is we've removed this bed. We have removed the fuel tank, the evap system, the shocks, part of the wiring harness, part of the brake lines, part of the fuel lines of the frame, the back half of it. Now, what I'm going to be doing off camera the rest of this weekend and maybe next weekend is this cab is unbolted. So tomorrow what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the cab off the frame. We're going to sit it to the side and hold on to it because of the reasons I stated at the beginning of this video. Got to hold on to it for a little longer. Then tomorrow what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of come and spray it off with a garden hose because it's got all this, loose dirt back here. And I just want to get it basically sprayed off. And then what I can do is hit it with some purple power, maybe some Dawn dish soap. Comment down below what else gets this stuff off really good. And maybe some oven cleaner, stuff like that. Just try to hit the first coat on it just to clean it. Just, knock the big stuff off. And then let it sit for a week. I may spray it again with some sort of cleaners and just let it sit for a week. And then if the temperatures are high enough, the next weekend, what I'll probably do is pressure wash it. Spray it down with a lot of cleaner and just get it as clean as I possibly can. At least the back half of the frame. Now once I do that, let it dry really good. I'm probably just going to come in with some black chassis paint or some, I said maybe use some phospho or something. It just depends. I mean, the frame's in good enough shape that if I just come back in with some, Rust-Oleum paint or something like that, it'll probably last for as long as we're going to need it. Probably another 10, 15 years, to be honest with you. It's just kind of surface rust. So I'm going to get it all painted black, and then we're going to get this tongue welded into the front of this trailer. Now, I do have new shocks for it. We'll be able to stick those in. And then what I'll go into is once I have this frame done, is then I'll go working into that bed and getting that painted and getting a camper shell for it. So it's still going to take a little time to do all of this with my schedule the way it is, working on it here and there. But like I said, my goal is to have this trailer done by the end of April. And the reason why is today is January 20th. And according to the email my wife got this morning, the Bronco has been built. Now it's moving from the production line, or when you look at it online, it'll have your different stages of your build. Now it's been built, and now it's moving off to the shipping part of the order. Now that could take, apparently we're supposed to get it at the end of February, but we will see. you know, some of these Broncos they build, they say they're in the shipping process, and then they sit for a month, 2, 3 months waiting on chips or modules that they didn't have when it was going down the assembly line. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed, hope the Bronco comes in at the end of February. That'll give us the rest of March and April to get the trailer basically painted, built, the bed liner put in it, and be ready to go. And then after that, we can come back in and add our water tanks. Maybe we use water tanks back there, our batteries, our toolbox, things of those natures. We'll be able to come back in and add to it after the fact, just because it will still be able to be used as a trailer the way we want it to begin with, but then we can just add all of our accessories later on. Now that's going to be it. I hope you liked the video. Sorry for it's rambling on, but there's more explaining in these first 2 videos. Then in the next videos, you'll see more work. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, share with your friends. Do all those things that YouTube tells us to tell you to do. So obey YouTube or they'll get you. So that's going to be it. May God bless y'all, and I'll see you in the next video.